Question number 2, Todd Muller.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question's to the Minister of Finance and asks, what reports has he received showing progress towards building growth across a range of sectors in the New Zealand economy?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Finance, Statistics New Zealand's latest GDP data release confirmed the economy is continuing to perform well and grew 2.6% in the year to March 2015. A reduction in dairy production contributed to quarterly growth of 0.2%, coming in at the lower end of market expectations. Dairy is important, but it is important to remember dairy exports make up only 1/5 of our total exports and are around 5% of the economy. The reality is that a large number of areas across the economy are growing and growing strongly. For example, the ICT software services sector has been growing at the rate of 9% per annum since 2008 and now contributes 1.7% of GDP. ICT exports have grown at 14% per year over the last 6 years to exceed $930 million in 2014.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Todd Muller.
What other sectors of the economy have shown strong growth?
Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Well, Mr Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Finance, many of them actually, the government's program of microeconomic reforms has helped make it easier for New Zealand industries to grow. Take one example, the wine industry now exports $1.37 billion, up 8.2% in the last year. The kiwi fruit industry has recovered well from PSI, and that is booming at this point. High-tech manufacturing has grown from a $139 million industry 20 years ago to $1.4 billion in 2012. There's tourism, which is now worth 7% of GDP. In the last year, the accommodation industry saw its largest annual growth at 8% since September 1995. The government's economic reform program and fiscal prudence is helping keep interest rates lower and creating the conditions where businesses are more confident of investing and hiring more people.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Todd Muller.
How is this economic growth translating into more jobs for New Zealand families?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Well, Mr Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Finance, the fundamentals for the economy remain sound. The outlook over the next 3 to 4 years is for moderate, sustained growth of around 3%, helping Kiwi families get ahead. In Budget 2011, Treasury forecast there'd be 171,000 additional new jobs created by June of this year. As at March of this year, 194,000 jobs had been created over that period, so we're currently around 23,000 ahead of that forecast with the current quarter to finish. A further 150,000 are expected to be added to the economy by mid-2019.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Todd Muller.
And how do forecasts for higher incomes compare with expected cost of living increases?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
On behalf of the Minister of Finance, Mr Speaker, average annual wages have increased by 5,700 in the last 4 years. Treasury forecasts they'll rise by a further 7,000 to around $63,000 by mid-2019. If you take the 8-year period as a whole, the average wage is expected to rise by almost 13,000 or over 25%, compared with inflation of around 15% over that same period. But it is very important to achieve those numbers to stay on course and continue to attract new investment around the country to build more and higher paying jobs and really lift our long-term economic performance.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Dr David Clark.
When will the Minister accept that he's failing to achieve his own target of growing exports as a percentage of GDP to 40%, that it's currently dropped to 27% and is projected to drop lower, and that if he doesn't change his policy, he will never achieve his goal?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Finance, I'm pretty sure the members heard before that that's a target set for 2025. And if he comes back as an opposition spokesperson for economic development in 2025, then he'll be able to ask that question again. But for reassuring for the member, in New Zealand dollar terms, nominal dollars terms, in 2008, our exports of total goods and services were $54.645 billion, and this last year to March, $67.49 billion, An increase in 24%, despite some of the highest US dollar and Australian dollar exchange rates that we've had. It's a 24% increase. And the only definition of going backwards is if you turn around and put yourself upside down like Mr Clark does.
Question number 3.